Imagine a man who claims the gods exist, but also insists they have no interest in us whatsoever. A man who believed in peace of mind, pleasure, and the absence of fear, especially fear of the divine. Was he trying to have it both ways? Or was he revealing something deeper about the nature of the universe and the gods? That man was Epicurus, a name often whispered in the halls of atheism, yet etched in the annals of theology. Revered for his philosophical clarity and criticized for the ambiguity of his beliefs, Epicurus remains one of history's most misunderstood thinkers. So was Epicurus an atheist cleverly disguising his views in a God-fearing society? Or was he a theologian, offering an alternative vision of the divine? Let's unfold the paradox. Here, we dive deep into the mysteries of ancient philosophy, untangle historical contradictions, and bring timeless ideas back to life. If you're curious about what lies beneath the surface of classical thought, you're in the right place. So buckle up, and let's explore one of the most compelling philosophical tensions of all time. Epicurus was born in 341 BCE on the island of Samos. He lived during a time when Greek culture was awash with gods, rituals, and oracles. Temples dominated the skyline. Sacrifices were daily routines. To question the gods was not only heretical, it was dangerous. But Epicurus didn't so much deny the gods as he redefined them. He founded his school, the Garden, in Athens, a philosophical commune that welcomed women and slaves, radically inclusive for its time. There, he taught the pursuit of ataraxia, tranquility, and aponia, the absence of pain, as the highest goals of human life. Pleasure, to him, was not about indulgence but freedom from fear, anxiety, and false beliefs. And at the top of his hit list of anxieties? Fear of the gods. Epicurus openly wrote, "The gods exist, but they are indifferent to human affairs." At first glance, this seems like a compromise, but on closer inspection, it's a revolutionary stance. For Epicurus, the gods were perfect and immortal beings who lived in a state of blessedness. But precisely because of their perfection, they could not be involved in the messy, chaotic, pain-filled lives of humans. Intervening in human affairs would mean emotional investment, something that would disturb their perfect tranquility. So yes, gods exist, but not the gods of Homer or the vengeful Zeus hurling thunderbolts. Epicurus's gods were models of serene existence, not tyrannical overlords. They served more as aspirational figures than objects of worship. They neither rewarded virtue nor punished vice. They simply were. Epicurus is also associated with a powerful critique of traditional theism, often paraphrased in modern times as, "If God is willing to prevent evil but not able, then he is not omnipotent. If he is able but not willing, then he is malevolent. If he is both able and willing, then whence comes evil? If he is neither able nor willing, then why call him God?" This argument, known today as the Epicurean paradox, laid the foundation for modern discussions on the problem of evil, a cornerstone debate in philosophy of religion. But here's the twist. How can someone who believed in gods present one of the most devastating arguments against divine benevolence? This is where the tension becomes undeniable. Many modern interpreters argue that Epicurus was essentially an atheist who couldn't publicly admit it. In a deeply religious culture, open denial of the gods could lead to persecution, or worse. So perhaps Epicurus adopted a clever rhetorical strategy, affirming the gods' existence to avoid backlash, while quietly neutering them of all traditional power. In this reading, his gods are placeholders, idealized constructs, not actual deities. Cicero, the Roman philosopher, noted that Epicurus's gods were so detached that they might as well not exist. This interpretation casts Epicurus as a subversive thinker, an early secular humanist hiding in plain sight. But this view isn't the only one. Some scholars argue that Epicurus wasn't denying the gods at all. He was rescuing them. He was separating myth from metaphysics. To Epicurus, the problem wasn't the existence of gods. It was the misunderstanding of them. People feared divine punishment, believed in oracles, worried about curses. These beliefs, he taught, caused unnecessary suffering. By positing gods who were blessed and undisturbed, Epicurus was presenting a radical new theology, one where the divine did not meddle in human lives. A God who is truly divine, he reasoned, would not engage in petty judgment. In this sense, Epicurus is not an atheist but a reformer, a theologian who purified the idea of divinity from superstition. Epicurus was a materialist. He believed that everything, including the soul, was composed of atoms. When the body dies, the atoms disperse. There is no afterlife, no judgment, no eternal reward or punishment. This belief was directly opposed to the religious dogma of his time, which centered on fear of divine wrath and hope for an afterlife. This is another reason people label him an atheist. But again, we return to nuance. Epicurus didn't say the gods didn't exist. He simply argued that death was the end, and the gods had nothing to do with it. Understanding Epicurus requires understanding his context. Blasphemy in Athens was a serious charge. Socrates had been executed less than a century before for corrupting the youth and denying the gods of the city. Epicurus would have known this well. Openly denying the gods wasn't just dangerous, it was suicidal. So perhaps Epicurus chose a different path: philosophical reconstruction rather than direct confrontation. Over time, Epicurus's ideas were distorted. The Christian Church, especially during the Middle Ages, branded him a hedonist and atheist. His name became associated with gluttony and immorality, completely misrepresenting his teachings. Ironically, Enlightenment thinkers later reclaimed Epicurus. Figures like Thomas Jefferson admired him. In fact, Jefferson once wrote, "I too am an Epicurean." Today, his ideas continue to resonate, especially among secular philosophers and humanists who seek ethical frameworks without supernatural foundations. The answer might be neither, or both. Epicurus was not trying to fit into our modern categories. He didn't write with the labels atheist or theist in mind. He was trying to answer a more fundamental question: how can humans live free from fear and in peace? To that end, he deconstructed harmful religious ideas, affirmed a kind of God that posed no threat, and built an ethical system based on reason, pleasure, and peace. Whether that makes him an atheist or a theologian depends on how we define those terms. Perhaps the better question is, what can we learn from Epicurus today about belief, fear, and freedom? Epicurus challenges us to rethink our assumptions about religion, divinity, and human happiness. He reminds us that sometimes the gods we fear are the ones we imagine ourselves. Whether you see him as an atheist in disguise or a quiet theologian, one thing is clear: Epicurus's teachings offer a timeless invitation to live a life free from fear, to seek peace, and to question everything, even the gods. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Epicurus and the fascinating tension between atheism and theology, make sure to subscribe to the unfolding journey. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an exploration into ancient wisdom and philosophical mysteries. Leave a comment below. Do you think Epicurus was an atheist, a theologian, or something else entirely? Let's start the conversation. Thank you for being part of the journey. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring.